what's going on? It's Muriel from the Sunshine Family. Today talking about buying property in Costa Rica to build a house in Costa Rica. So basically those two topics are super connected together. You can only build a house in Costa Rica if you own property in Costa Rica. And to buy property in Costa Rica, I already did a video about it. But I wanted to highlight in this specific video ins and outs about when you build your own house in Costa Rica, what things can you prevent, right? There's of course lots of things that can go wrong, but don't focus only on what can go wrong. I want you to focus on what can go well. With us it goes really, really well. So here we are building, welcome on my property. This house, it is for Dirk's mom. It's almost completed. So I believe that I know enough now to help you, to guide you a little bit, and sharing things that I could not find on YouTube before we started the process. So first of all, before I dive into the information about building a house in Costa Rica, buying property in Costa Rica, subscribe to my channel. I wanted to invite you to do that first if you haven't done it yet. You can do that by tapping the little icon in one of the corners below, and also hit the bell icon to get a notification every time I upload a new video, so you can learn more about whatever topic you might be able to learn from. Something that I have learned myself, because that's the purpose of my channel. I only share things that I have learned myself. I will never say that I know everything, but I am happy to share what I have learned so far. So let me just walk around this casita. This is a one-bedroom apartment for my mother-in-law, who is also my best friend. It is almost completed. As you can see, the roof is on, the walls are in, we're waiting for the doors. There's some construction work to fence the bathroom. Let me just go ahead and walk inside, and then I will just share what is crucial to make a project like this on your own property in Costa Rica a success. So this is the kitchen. Look at all this beautiful concrete stuff. I like it with the nice wood combination. This will be the bedroom. You will see there will be wood in there, so you have a beautiful view on the mango trees and no neighbors, right? That's characteristics of our property. It's 5.5 acres and we have a lot of space. Now, ins and outs, what to get started with when you buy property in Costa Rica. Also, I refer back to the other video I made a while ago, right after I bought my own property. Key to build a house in Costa Rica is that you have a property with water, with an existing water meter, so that you actually have an official water connection. Our water connection is the Asada here at the Peninsula de Nicoya, or you have a registered well, a water well, registered at the municipality in your town. Without that, you are not allowed to build. So don't make the biggest mistake people can make when they buy property in Costa Rica, that they buy a beautiful looking property without water, without an official water meter or official registered well. You do not get a building permit. That's rule number one. You have to obey. And ask your attorney, your registered attorney, before you buy a property, how everything is arranged for your property. But if you have passed that stage, this video is totally for you, because now when you have your permit, you have your property, you're ready to start building, you have to know a couple of things, right? One, you need an awesome architect. I know the biggest mistake you can make is when you are from Europe or the United States or Canada, somewhere else, and you think, I know a bit about this and that, and I'm gonna draw my own house, and I'm gonna hire labor here in Costa Rica, which is, compared to other continents, quite cheap. You can make a big mistake that your house will be a disaster, because what does an architect do? I didn't know that, but I experienced it. An architect draws the drawing, also helps you to get it approved at the Colegio de Architects in San Jose. So they look at the drawing, if everything is in place, according to the rules, the regulations, according to electricity, measurements, blah, blah, blah. So I'm also talking about you already have your water, right? And then it is important that you apply for the building permit. So with the approval of this collegio, the architects, and showing that you have a water meter or a well, and that you can prove that the property is yours or that it's in the ownership of the company you own, then you get it. Then you get a permit. It's more or less, you know, a rule that will be fine. It can take weeks. It can take months. That's Costa Rica. But when you cross that stage, we're here. Now the drawing of your house should be fully approved by really an architect that's official, that is familiar with your area, because Costa Rica have many different areas. I would just recommend you to take one in your area who is familiar with the type of ground, with the type of weather, and who just has good references, right? It's not just a drawing, it's also checkups, visiting the building construction place. So our architect was here fully engaged with the constructor's team before they hit the first poles in the ground, if all the measurements was right. Even when the bajo was coming, before the bajo, which equalizes the ground for starting to build, before starting to build, she was involved to check the measurements of the height of the foundation. So for example, here you see that this is the height of the foundation. It's not straight on the ground. It is a little bit above the ground. Why is that? And this is also why I believe that you better have a Costa Rica architect, because they're more familiar with the weather type, with what's happening here on the ground, right? It's totally different climate than in Europe or somewhere else. Yeah, we choose someone who felt good. We had a meeting first and good references. That's always good. Someone with recommendations, right? So yeah, when you have crossed that stage, by the way, I'm very happy to share my architect with you. I ask her for permission, and I don't get a commission whatsoever out of this. This is just, you know, to help each other out. If you're interested to connect with my architect, I will add her email and her name in the description under my video. Her name is Sooner. She's a Costa Rican. She's a Tica. She has a lot of recommendation, and she's awesome to work with, and she's super good in working also together with the construction team. So I saw her checking up the team in this final stage, but also in the stages before, checking out the works, measuring all the measurements to see if the construction was doing according to the plan. And now she's in the final stage of checking the little details, and she's just pointing out, like, there is some paint that shouldn't be there, there's a little hole between the wall and the wood that shouldn't be there. So she's really picky. She calls it picky, but that's part of her work. That takes away a lot of your, I don't know, you don't, it's fine, it's better that someone else is doing that for you, if you ask me, so you can be more relaxed and have the architect doing the work, right? Than that you have to look on the fingers of the construction team. That would stress me out. So a good architect, yeah, that I think your good construction stands or falls with that. I'm really happy with mine, and now for sure when we're gonna build our own house, our new house up there, we will be hiring her as well. Now, some practical things. So the architect was really, really important. Where are my flip-flops? There are some things I was super worried about before we started this building project. So we had all the permits, all the official stuff done. I thought that was really complicated, but I did it, so you can do it. Just stick to the rules and don't give up when things take long, okay? Have your attorney in place when buying your property, have an architect in place when designing your house. So also an architect, by the way, knows which material is available in Costa Rica and which is not. That's the biggest mistake most people make. They have a design, but the material that they want to create the design with is not available in Costa Rica. So it has to be imported, for example. Of course, that's possible, but that can be a very, very pricey thing. So be aware of those, and your Costa Rican architect will be able to tell you more about it. I was super worried before we started this construction. It was the start of the pandemic. We had the permits in place, everything in place, and the team was ready for our green light to get started. And I was like, what the heck? I don't know anything about COVID. I don't know if we can get it, if they touch the gate and I touch the gate. So we had a break for 2 weeks, and then we found out that it was actually fine. We have a lot of space here, but I was worried about the toilet. Now our team built their own toilet. Now I'm not sure if that's standard, but what is important to know is that we said we are in COVID, we have to protect ourselves. We work over there, right, on our own existing Tico house that's there that we use now with the buses until we have our own bigger house completed. I was worried to have the workers using my bathroom, my restroom, just out of hygienic, not because I'm unfriendly, but just because I didn't want them in my house for their protection and for mine. We are a family, 4 people, and that in the start of the quarantine. So I just discussed this with the team. No problem. They built their own toilet. Awesome, right? Now you think, okay, now we're done. Well, this is a thing you have to be aware of when you have construction on your land, whether you live on the land or not. Just to be sure that things are not wasted. Like the most, so this has happened to me before. We had a leak in a rental house. We never found out at the end where the leak was, but we had to pay a water bill, which is usually around 6,000 colones, which is in general around whatever, 12 bucks or something, 10 bucks, 12 bucks. Water's not that expensive. But when you have a little leak and you don't know where it is, it can be somewhere if a pipe which is in the ground, so they're going to put it in the ground here, right? If there's a leak and it's rainy season, you are not able to find the leak because the grass will grow on the place where the leak is, right? But in wet season, everything is green. So yeah, you should track your meter to find out every day to find out if you have a leak. But obviously we didn't do that in a rental. I had to pay $600 of water, and there was no way for me to get out of that. Now, what did we do every day when the team is going home? So they start at 7 in general. We agreed on that, and we said, well, you can work as long as you want because we have space. We are not here next to it, right? So we are far away. But in general, they leave at 5 or 6 and they start at 7. What we always do is to take a walk to the back of the land and we check if there's no running water, if there's no, here's the coffee pot, for example, behind me. They had a big table over there. They already took it away because the big construction is already completed. But the coffee machine was on there. Sometimes they forget to turn it off. And what do you think is happening when there's a lot of rain falling out of the sky on the electricity thing? That's not really good, right? It can cause a lot of trouble for the whole property. So yeah, we always check if everything is off. And I found out the other day that the toilet, let me show you, that the toilet was dripping. So they use this, let me show it to you. So they have this alternative water pipe, right? Temporary water pipe leading to here. So we turn this off every day. Now this was yesterday, it was on. And the toilet, you know, it's a construction site toilet, so it is not luxury. But it kept on, you know, filling itself. But if this will last, this will stay filling itself for a couple of days. You can easily get like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars to pay at the end of the month. So check your construction place at the end of the day is just my advice. Not to be picky, but just to protect big water bills or electricity problems. Just walk around and see if everything is fine. What's also super important is that you have a place to hide materials behind a lock, right? So we agreed with the patron of the construction team. So we have a big place over there with a thick door and a huge lock on it. Let me show it to you. So it's over there, it's the garage. They can put their material, their construction machines in there. They also have this, where they put their small stuff locked. So you see there's a lock on it. You see? This is really hard to steal, this thing, because our property is fenced, and where it's not fenced there's a river. So you cannot just leave stuff out on the open. We even heard that the property next to us, there is also someone building there, that something disappeared from that property. So you never know who's sneaking on your property, right? You have to be aware that there's people want to sniff around and see what they can grab. I always believe in the good of people, but you have to be prepared and protect your stuff. It's also a reason why we have dogs, right? They always alarm us when there's something happening. Someone is on the property, or someone is in front of the gate, or someone is in the back of the land. They always hear it. So yeah, a toilet and checking on water use and electricity is a major tip. Don't be surprised. So what I did from the start, I checked the usual water bills. More or less it's always the same, right? And it's easy for me. Suppose that this water thing was dripping all the time. I made a video of it and a photo, and I showed that I turned it off. When their water bill will be super high, basically a company should provide you at least half of that bill, right? But take the responsibility yourself and check it, okay? So what else can I share? Yeah, there are some things. This is really important. I heard that this happens a lot when people are building a house. It's the details that takes where the most mistakes are made, even when you have an architect. Let me show you this. So here I'm standing in the kitchen, right? And if you look at this concrete kitchen element, you see that when I stand here, this corner is here. So my feet can stand here, so I can stand here and make dinner and use it. A lot of times when you're not clear enough, the construction team forgets, even when it's on the drawing, they do it on the same line. Then you have to stand like this, to stand close to the place where you prepare your food. You know what I'm saying? So these are little details. So before they started to build this piece, we literally highlighted again and again. Don't forget that there should be space for your feet, right? Because I know, because my architect has built her own house. Our house is the miniature, how do you say it? Like the baby version of her house. And she said that the builders forgot about it with her. And I was like, okay, that's not going to happen with me. I'm going to remind them. Better 10 times too much than 1 time too less, right? So yeah, I can recommend you that. Also, what can I recommend you else? Well, I think this is more or less it. General tip. You know, treat the construction team with respect, right? I think that's quite normal, but you know, people work in general super hard. Labor is super low. These guys, they work in high temperatures, in rain and everything. Like every day that the workers showed up on our property, we say hi. Oh, by the way, I always ask them, we agreed on that because we have dogs, that they close the gate. So we ask for a toilet, we ask for them to close the gate and tell the ferreteria, the delivery guys, to pass it forward that we need our gate closed every time a vehicle enters or leaves. They do that. It's because it's communication. And if they forgot once, you remind them and be kind. And what we also did, and I know my friends do it too, like once in a while you bring something, like when we have a watermelon, I bring a piece of watermelon, right? Or once in a while I was making a shake in the blender with a lot of ice with fruit drinks. You know, treat your team with respect and have them feel comfortable working for you. You pay them, of course, but if people are happy workers, it's happy building, and there will be more love in it. I just believe in vibrations, good vibrations. So if you're picky and whiny, and I don't know, people feel it when you treat them with respect or not. I think it's, even when there's things that you not agree about, stay respectful, and just make it the best time that's possibly possible, right? Because it will pass. This is built in less than 3 months. This is built in 8 weeks. Yes, in exactly 8 weeks from the ground up. So, but this is a very simple structure, right? So yeah, don't feel scared about building a house in Costa Rica. Have your permits and stuff in place. Have a good architect. Go to the description below and check out my wonderful architect sooner. And then find a good construction team. I would recommend you to ask the architect for recommended building construction teams. Have a conversation with them. Have them make an offer, a very detailed offer. I don't want to spend too much time on that. I just wanted to show you, to teach you some general tips that I know that others are never sharing about a toilet and about, you know, checking your electricity use and water use every end of the day, right? So I hope to be of value here, and I might do another video about this topic when there's demand for it. So please let me know in the comments below if you have more questions concerning buying property in Costa Rica and building a house in Costa Rica, ins and outs to know. Because yeah, I've done it now almost, right? It's such an exciting adventure to do new things, figure it out. But just remember this, if others have done it, you can do it too. And you do not have to make terrible mistakes. You might make some mistakes, but it don't have to be a disaster. You can work your way around it, right? Yeah, be good prepared and know what you're starting. Have your budget in place. Be clear about the max. You know, there's always 10%. This is, by the way, my final tip. Always count on around 10% on top of the estimated budget that was calculated for the whole project. So the whole project is basically material and labor, right? And then some permits and the architect. So architect costs, permit costs, and labor costs. Labor cost, you see, I still have more tips. Labor costs should be should be a set amount. So because I asked them, hey, what about it rains a lot, right? And the project is on hold for 3 weeks. Do I have to pay more because we hired this team for 3 weeks? No, it's a set amount. But I know other people that they just hire a team and they pay the team themselves. We had a different construction, so to say. We hired a team, had made a contract for labor costs, and I paid the patron every week a certain amount, and he pays his workers. His workers are also insured. By the way, that's also a cost. You need to pay insurance at the municipality for an X amount of workers. So depending on what the patron of the building crew is using, so how many people is he using to build your house, those people should be insured, and you have to pay a certain amount for that. How much it is really depends on how much people, what type of construction. It was not more than a couple of $100 for us, but yeah, find guidelines about this. Don't be surprised by numbers that you haven't seen coming. So okay, again, on the list: costs, architect, permits, insurance of the workers, labor costs, and construction stuff like walls and everything, material. And that's basically how you build a house in Costa Rica. Have your water in place. Don't apply for a water meter when you want to start build tomorrow. That's not going to happen. Have your stuff in place and make it an awesome time. And before you know it, you have built your own house in Costa Rica. Hey, let me know again if my video was helpful. If you have more questions, I can ramble on, but I don't want that. I'm happy to make more videos about this if there's demand for it. Anyways, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, do that now. Hit the little icon and hit the bell icon. Share my video if you think it's of value for someone else. Like my video. And yeah, looking forward to seeing you in my next video. Ciao from Costa Rica. This was Muriel.